And we are live with another episode of Brownish.
Yeah.
You guys know my co-host, the beautiful, the talented, the host of Like Share Demon on Fuse every Monday, 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Sasha Merci. I feel like we should have air horns here.
Right. I think we need to
a
start working on
soundboard.
something. Yes, we need
We need a soundboard.
Yeah, definitely.
Anybody out
totally agree.
there that has soundboard experience, hit us up. We need a soundboard. We need
We
drops.
need you guys.
We need drops. How are you?
I am good.
I don't like the way you spaced out each word. There was a sigh after each. I am good.
You know, it's like every month they're saying, I would think every month we go into the quarantine. I'm like, when is it gonna be over, right?
Yeah. You just want to see the finish line. You just want to see.
Yeah.
Where is it?
At this point, yeah, for sure.
Because
but that's about it.
I think when it first started, we were all like, oh, summer, June, July. It's right there. We're going to be all right. And then it was, August, September. We're going to be.
Yeah.
And now it's like, well, flu season. And then after that, everybody keeps making reference to the new year. Like January 1st. Se acabó.
Yeah, it's like I'm getting my life together at a time where everything is at a standstill. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
It's like I'm finally getting it together. But, it's cool. Just one thing at a time, one step at a time.
There you go. How's the show going? Like, dímelo.
The show is good. I'm just excited for everyone to see the rest of the season because I just feel like with the more the episodes, the better it just gets. Mm-hmm. So I'm just excited about that. People have been reaching out to me because of the show and they say they enjoyed it. So that to me makes me feel like we did something good.
All right. So I'm excited about that. Are you getting any creepy messages?
Absolutely.
There it is.
I recently got I've never received this before, but it kind of actually felt like a copy and paste. But this guy sent me a video like, oh, I just find you super attractive. And I just want to say that it's in our best interest for us to get to know each other. A video. Usually I get dick pics. Yeah. He said in our best interest. And I thought it was pretty bold, but I'm also like, this is very Gen Z-ish. You know what I mean? Like,
what was the video? Did he do like a highlight reel of his best hits?
No, he sent me a video of him. No, he just sent me like a selfie video of him just like being like, I know this is kind of weird because I just came out the shower, but I find you very attractive. And I believe it's in our both interest to get to know each other. And I was just like, yo, it's about to blow up in the R&B world, that video. I have another one. I'm working on another one. Have you?
You've been dropping a lot of videos. I've seen the R&B video. I saw the Mercury's and reggaeton. Like you're dropping hits.
I might as well. But anyway, so he sent me. So he sent me that video. But then I also feel like it's copy and paste. Like he's probably sending it to a whole bunch of other influencers because it's like he didn't even say my name, but he's like, yeah, I'm just getting out the shower. I was like, that's kind of like bold.
Yeah. I think I'm starting to not starting to realize, but I didn't realize the level of creepiness some guys will message women sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Like I had a friend show me like some of the DMs she gets, and not just like just like penis pics, but like, yeah, girl, you got sexy earlobes. I'm like, ugh.
Right. Like, let me suck on those soft ass earlobes that you got there.
Look at them knees. I'm like, ugh.
Mm-hmm.
What's wrong with you? So be careful out there. Be safe. It's not in your best interest. Do not meet up this dude.
Yeah, and what was it like? I feel like men don't have to worry about that creepiness. Like women would say something, you'd be like, "All right, ma," like whatever,
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think I've ever gotten a creepy message.
Exactly.
It's in our best interest for us to meet.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I was like, creepy.
I did a show this past weekend, live show.
How was that?
It was cool. It was cool to be back on stage. It was cool to see audience. It was cool to hear laughter.
Where'd you go? Like, where were you performing?
So it was this cool outdoor venue. Shout out to Sky Stage in Frederick, Maryland. So it was an old warehouse, and they used to like just use it for storage for like propane tanks. And I guess it caught fire one day, and the roof is gone. The roof gone.
That's beautiful.
So they've taken this old warehouse and they put bleacher seats and they've made an outdoor, like almost like a theater, but it's outdoors because there's no roof. And then it's actually a dope picture. It's a dope.
I'm looking it up right now.
I'm gonna post pictures tomorrow on my IG. The guy just sent me all the pictures, so I'm gonna look through and find the ones when I'm not blanking and making those weird faces. But yeah, it was cool. Everybody was socially distanced. You had to wear masks to come in, but during the show, like people pull their masks out, so I got to see smiles and laughs, and I just felt re-energized. I felt good to be back in my natural habitat.
That's right.
Because I've seen people doing it at parks. I feel like if you don't have the stage setting, it can be weird because people just walking by, just eating snacks and whatnot. Just what's going on over there? Like at least here, they're seated and they know it's a show.
And also the noise, it could bounce off the walls and have people like hear it more versus like when you are on stage outside, it's like the projection of your noise, your voice is not being captured.
Yeah,
people were like, what he said.
Yeah. So it was cool. I was excited to get back on, but that was the last show of the year because weather. The stage it's in Maryland, so it's starting to get cold. There's precipitation, which I'm not used to. There's snow, there's rain, and I was just like, well, I guess that was it. So I don't know when I'll be back up on stage.
That makes sense. Maybe California should start opening things like that because it won't be that cold.
California's got outdoor malls. They never have rain. I don't understand why they're not doing it.
That's what I'm saying. Maybe we should just start it.
There it is. We're gonna throw that out there.
Yeah, let's do it.
I'm gonna throw that out there. Somebody said they should just wear parkas.
Let's do it. But I'm super excited for today's show because
I am too.
We got a badass mamma jamma coming through.
We've got somebody who I met at an NBC event a couple months back before all this pandemic. There was a lot of people.
Yeah.
If I had known, I would have hugged everybody. I would have double kissed everybody.
Oh no, that would be creepy.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
I did not.
They were like, what do you know that we don't know? Yeah.
What do you know this coming? She came up through one of the NBC directorial programs. She is an award-winning director. Like she's won numerous awards. Like I can't even list them. That's how many. But let's give it up for the one, the only SJ Main Munoz. Oh, she's ready.
Damn! I did not expect that. Okay.
We got to get ready for work. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
We got you.
That's how we're going to be working. Wow.
Okay. You're going to take it a little bit slower. Let's try it again. Okay, guys?
So here's a question, like right out the gate, because I love you came up with the show. Are we going to start seeing? Do you guys think we're going to start seeing shows like sitcoms or any with the full? Like, because that's the reality we're living in now. Like, that's so. All right. So I was just talking about like how I did stand up this past weekend. Like the fear for me was to start telling stories and people go, that's a lie. You didn't go out to dinner with your wife. Where'd you go? So I worry about that with television and movies. Like at some point, like people gonna watch these movies, like, and if there's a party scene, people gonna like, come on, in a COVID time?
Yeah, that's not believable. I was gonna make up a word. That's not believable.
Yeah, or even rom-coms, like when just the kiss. Oh, you didn't get tested?
Right.
Yeah, it's going to be like, I was saying it to a friend the other day. It's like almost like AIDS era. Remember, it was like, oh, you want to make out or hook up? Let's go get a test. Like, that's back. It's like, you know, it's like the new time again. We got to go get a test before we can like be in the same room.
That's true. That's so true.
But I was going to say, even the programming now, I've noticed, like, it's not there. There might be a suggestion. But do you think like November, when everything like airs again, it's going to be like all these people in masks, like all the new content? It's going to just be like, wait, what?
Yeah, what's going on here? That's what it feels like. Definitely feels like we're heading there.
I know NBC dropped the thing, was it socially distanced or separate, where they're all on Zoom. Because like that's what everybody's doing. That's a sitcom. it takes place on Zoom. I know I saw the trailer for This Is Us, and there's a scene where the dude's got the mask on, and I don't know why. I've only seen trailers for NBC shows apparently. I know Blackish had their trailer, and they had masks. So is that what's going to start happening? Like,
and all the medical shows, they're going to all be COVID. So it's like, it's just going to be weird though, to go from like watching last season's reruns and then seeing it. It's going to be odd. And then I'm wondering, how are we going to phase out of it? Yeah. So like if everyone's going to be wearing masks and then like, it's just going to be weird. Almost part of me thinks like, let's just pretend everything's normal.
Right.
And then, like,
the thing is, though, that I find interesting is that during the pandemic and everything that's going on, it just seems like they want to, just have like normal media. But I'm like, that's not what's happening right now. And then when everything gets normal, they're going to like try to remind people of COVID. And it's just going to be like, bro, like, let's be honest about the times right now. We all struggling. That's why I feel like I'm not even connecting with like music as much, because I'm like, all I'm hearing is about, people making money. As much as I love WAP, is like, who's having sex right now? Like, who is meeting up? Like, it's not. So I feel like I'm having trouble connecting with everything right now because we're not talking about what's happening. Like, I'm getting upset because I'm doing my makeup and then I put a mask on and then it ruined my makeup. So I have to walk out half cute and it's just like I'm wasting makeup. Like, it's just a lot.
It's totally different. I know. Did it change your skit, your story, Eric, when you were up? Did you have to like tweak things?
It didn't, but I was doing a lot of like explaining, like, all right, so this happened last year before, like I was doing a little bit of that because I was just like, no one's gonna buy. Because with stand-up, you try to make it just happened almost. Like even though you've been telling the story for a year, if you start giving the exact dates, then the audience is thinking like you just want to make, oh, the other day I did this. But if I go, oh, the other day me and my wife we went to this party, people are like, what party? How old are you? That's illegal.
So now it's like before March 13th. This was all before March 13th. Can we just preface this whole show is going to be pre-March 13th?
Yeah. That's funny.
I know, right? And the great, I was just thinking too, like news, or it's like, what are you going to talk about? What else can we talk about? Like Eric and I before were talking about, I got a ring light because now I'm always on the screen. It's almost like buying a new outfit now. It's like you're seeing a friend. Well, now you guys are only seeing me here.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I had a call, like a meeting or something, and it was a call, and I instinctually went in, put on a top, put on a coat, and I was like, oh shit, it's not on screen. It's just a phone call. It's like now you're just instinctually getting your face ready for any meeting you have.
That's so funny because
people are just getting dressed from the waist up. Like,
I know.
Pants,
but that's all I'm wearing.
Whatever.
That's all I'm wearing right now. I'm just wearing a shirt and pajamas right now because I'm like, I ain't gonna see my feet. I haven't done my toes in so long. I haven't seen my lady. Haven't done my nails. Look at. I have one nail on while the rest of. Look at this.
That's why Sasha just all day just like this.
Yeah.
I'm just like, hey guys, I have my life together.
I did that. Here's a confession for you guys. I had to do that the other day for my son because for the virtual learning, they don't want them in pajamas. They want them to feel like everything is normal. But he woke up late and we were rushing. So I was like, hey man, just put the shirt on. He's like, what about my pants? Like, shh, come on, you're late. And I put them on. And the whole time, like I'd walk by the laptop, like, I'm like, shh, don't give me trouble.
Right.
Yeah. You need something, let me know.
Yeah, my daughter's class was when she came up and she's like, oh, tomorrow's gonna be pajamas day. And I was so confused because I'm like, is that like every day?
Yeah.
Shouldn't it be like special, like let's do our hair or like pajama day? Like it just seems so weird to me. I'm like, okay, that's normal. But yeah, the big thing is like remote learning, guys. Like if you ask me what the majority of my life is right now, it is remote learning. And it is like, I can't imagine how tired she must be. Like I'm not even going to the classes. I'm just like getting the stuff ready. Like,
oh yeah. I feel like I'm relearning and it's so much harder now. I'm like, I don't know what.
The word problem, Eric. She gave a word problem or something, and the first time I was sitting with my daughter, and I'm like, "Okay, I think we do it like this." And then after, my husband's like, "No. You always start with a big number." And I'm like, "I can't remember stuff from kindergarten. Like, you got to break it down again."
Right. That makes a lot of sense. I mean, it's interesting because now it's like before the transportation to go to school was like you have to get in the car, you have to go somewhere, or even walk. Now it's just like we're gonna go to the kitchen or like act like this wall is just the school wall.
I know.
Right.
It's so crazy.
I feel for the parents that have like lots of kids in remote learning, and they're trying to create like quiet pods in their house. I got a 5-year-old and a 19-month-old, but my 5-year-old, we just move her from like, depending on when he has to take a nap, we move her between rooms. So it's like, it's just this like coordination of like, where's the classroom?
Right.
Yeah, it's like, what do we gotta do? Like, it's crazy. Everything is just like, when is everything going to get back to normal? But is anything going to get back to normal? And that's kind of, it's like good and then bad, because there's like new ways to like be creative, right? Like new ways to direct, or even, like now they have the iPhone 12. A perfect time, because we can only do stuff in our crib.
Dude, and prep. So all the prep meetings, so when you're in TV, direct TV, you do all these meetings like with your team, right? And you have a whole week of like meetings where you can do costumes, or you talk about art or vehicles and all this. And so now it's all of it is by your computer. So you'll still go into the office, but you're sitting in front of your computer having meetings with the team. And it's so bizarre to me, because it's like we're trying to be normal, but obviously, and for good reason, we're putting health first, and so we're protecting people from each other. But so it's like we're still doing it, but we're all behind these and and masks, and and directing is a lot of like, you guys both know from work, it's like connecting with each other in little minuscule gestures across a stage. And now it's going to have to be like, can I convey like full movements to make clear what we're changing and what we're tweaking? And
and the thing that's interesting too is I remember I was shooting some stuff for like Me Too and KFC, and they sent me all of the equipment. So I had to Zoom with everyone while I set up the equipment, while I was the PA, the director, like all that stuff. And they're like, Sasha, can you put the screen here and the screen there? And that takes like a whole day just to shoot something for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, 30 seconds, 1 minute or like 30 seconds,
And it's funny because as much as we hope that like, a person's not so tech savvy or they don't have all the gear, like you shouldn't judge their performance, but you do that. It's all subconscious. So it's like you still want your shit to look good. You need to like, you get your ring light,
right?
Stuff like this. Like you still want your environment to look professional, so someone can actually just focus on the performance.
So are you guys like, have you done anything like that where you had to direct someone through Zoom?
I have a friend. I got to perceive her. She actually directed a commercial via Zoom, and it was nuts. She had like screens set up, and it's the real deal. I think once you're able to do that, you can do anything, right?
That's
like,
I did a commercial a couple months back. This was during pandemic, and it was just me, the other actor. We were like 6 feet apart, and a camera guy. And the camera guy had earbuds in. And then we would do a take, and then he'd go, "Hold on, guys. The director wants you guys," because he was on the other side of a wall looking on screen, and I was like, "Wow, this is creepy. This is like you said, you want to interact with the guy and have him tell you, 'Hey, great job,' but all I'm getting, he said you did all right, man. You can go now."
You know what I love though, Eric, is it's almost like the pandemic is taking all ego out of like the work.
Yeah, that's true.
Because you can't be the diva anymore who's like, wait, how did you say that? Or, oh, you were too aggressive. It's like, you're even lucky to talk to the director or get a note by the camera operator. You're like, you've got to be able to take it. I feel like it puts us all on like a even playing field, just like the pandemic. It's like, we're all just trying to figure out how to pay the bills. We're all just trying to stay alive. We're all just trying to keep our kids from killing each other.
It's like a weird reset button. It's like we're resetting like everything that we learned for what the fuck, what for? Like I was just thinking about it, and I was like, oh my God, the people that made so much money and they're living off of hospitality. Because I used to work in a hotel, you know what I mean? They went to school for it. They did for what? You can't even do that right now. And even like bartenders and all that stuff. I'm like, oh my God, like things I didn't realize how crazy it was, because I'm like, things that have been around for years and even centuries, right? Right, bars haven't been around. Bars haven't been around for that long, maybe for me, but
century. It's all relative. It's all relative.
I don't even know time anymore. But I'm
they have, because if you go to the Renaissance time or the Renaissance?
That was the beginning.
That was the beginning, right?
They were all born with like jugs, right, of air.
Right. So everything is, we're changing centuries of like what we've learned.
It's crazy.
To be at home and on our
shows that none of us should be doing virtual learning. We're like centuries, right? Yeah, that's right. Yeah, those times, right? Huh?
Yeah. It's like
I know this is addition and I know this is subtraction. I can tell you that.
Algebra? No way. I can't even.
Geography is my bad. Like if I've been to the country, I know exactly where it is. I can tell you everything. But until I've been there, like it's all just. I've
been thinking about it, and I'm just like, my teacher just passed me because I was a good person, and they liked me, and they thought I was funny. Like her, yeah, just give her, just pass her, just give her 65.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I'm a mess on geography until I started traveling and started figuring stuff out. Like I'm gonna confess this too. I didn't know Cincinnati was in Ohio till I was in Ohio. I was in Cleveland. And I was doing this club, and this comic was like, "Oh yeah, I got to drive back tonight to Cincinnati." I was like, "Oh my god!" I was like, "Wait, like Kentucky?" And he's like, "What?" I was like, "Where is
it?" I haven't been there. I don't know where it is. It's on Mars.
Like, it's Ohio, dude. I was like, "Ew."
Yeah, and it's interesting because in college, not college. I never went to college. What's wrong with me? In high school,
we're a mess. We're a mess.
I'm a mess. I'm like in college. I'm lying to you. I only went to high school. In high school, like I never cared about being like the smartest kid ever. So when people were like, "Oh, like raising their hands all the time," I'm like, "Wow, you had time, right?" Yeah. And then now, when I'm around people and they're like, they know how to speak better, they know more about geography, or like even if I'm traveling, I'm like, "Yeah, this is on the third." I'm like, I got my Google, like just trying to figure things out, and I'm like, "Damn, I should have paid attention in school."
Yeah, but school is deceptive because at least like at my school, and I'm not shaming the school, but memorization got me straight A's. Like I seriously graduated, you guys, with like a 4.5 GPA, like or something ridiculous. No, but it was memorizing. No, come on, Eric. I'm gonna just ready? I'm gonna cut it down because it was all about memorization. If you asked me any of those things like 6 months later, I'd be like, huh? Like almost just like it went in one ear. I memorized it. It was like perfect for our work, right? It's all about memorization. And then it went right out the ear. And it wasn't until I was later in college or like with other classes outside, I've been taking online classes actually right during the pandemic, when it's like really good teachers, they really get like the whole idea and you live the idea and you really learn it in your bones. Like that's the good teaching to me. Like that's and it's not like anything you forget, it's not just like geometry where it's like or algebra where you're just following rules, Yeah.
Well, let me ask you, did you go to school to be a director?
Yeah.
So when did that bug hit you? Like I want to direct.
Dude, I seriously, it sounds ridiculous because I'm sure everybody says it, but it's like sitting with my dad and him showing me like James Bond movies. Like I think, eating ice cream and watching I was literally my father, like I watched so many films with him and I just loved them. They were like, you would just dive into another world. You were living these stories. And so I always knew that I wanted to make films like from the beginning. And so I got into dance. I was a dancer since I was 5. And then I thought, well, dance also is the same. It's like you're creating stories on stage, and that transitioned into theater. And then when I'm like, okay, what am I going to do with dance? Like, your body kind of gives up on you in your early 20s, unless, you can become a choreographer, but long-term, what are you going to do? So I went into the theater department to work with actors. And from there, it was just, I was directing actors at UCLA for undergrad, and I had written a letter to Steven Spielberg when I was in high school. I know. I really wish, Sasha, I could figure out where I found that address. It was just like, some office or write a fan mail. I think it was, you know why? I think it was like, remember we didn't have like the internet. Oh my God, I'm aging myself. But it wasn't like everything was like in newspapers and like where would you fan mail addresses in the back of like magazines and stuff. And so I sent him a letter like, if you ever open a movie studio, I want to work for you. And seriously, about a year and a half later, I get a message from my mom and she's like, somebody called from a DreamWorks and they had literally saved my letter and they said, you wrote this letter and we'd like to invite you to be part of the internship program at the studio. And so I was the first like female outside of this graduate program, outside of this Peter Stark USC program. And I interned there for like 2 years and it was amazing. It changed.
That's such an amazing, that's like such a like go-getting story, right? Like I don't even know how to phrase it better, but it
applies now, Sasha. I'm a cold call. Like if you want something, that's why I say people listening, like if you want something, man, the worst someone's going to say is no, which you already had anyways. Like, so it's like, write that letter, ask for what you want. And
but
now it's a slide in the DMs, SJ.
Right.
Now there's no letter.
You go to Netflix and you
DM
like, hey, DM Netflix and you're like, hey, I see that you're missing people that look like me on the show. Hello. But yeah, so I think that, you know, even like you writing that letter, people don't realize it's just as simple as that. Like, it's just like, you know what? Who cares? Like, all I have to do is just do it. I'm still going to live my regular life, you know? And I think that sometimes people just get to start overthinking it. I think it's the overthinking it that makes people psych themselves out. Because if you would have been like, oh my God, if I write this letter, it's never going to get to them. So what the heck? Who cares? You know what I'm saying? So that's so dope.
Yeah. And I think it's just about, you know, there's obviously many kinds of letters, but one being the stalker letter like Sasha gets got from her video. Okay, that's not what we're talking about.
Yeah.
It's not when you get out of the shower or I just got out of the shower.
SJ's letter did not say that. I just got out of the shower, Spielberg. I was thinking.
I've been thinking about you a lot and I'm obsessed with you. I mean, there's definitely different ways to write a letter.
That's so amazing. So I know that you said something about being a director and a dancer kind of similar. In trying to tell a story, I realized I was watching something and they said, you know, when you're doing a film, it's really about the director's vision. And how do those visions come to you? And do you usually, and I have so many questions on top of that, like, do you usually write them? Like, how do you find the story that you want to direct and really create it as your own?
Oh, look at Eric. He's showing Chicago
I know, he's already like, he's already on it.
Well, I didn't write Chicago Med, obviously, but I still love I love Chicago Med. But write about personal stories, like Sasha, stories that that originate with you, with the artist. It's all about like, I always tell people, like, dig in to where you're from or dig into, you know, and you could be, you know, for me, I like spent a lot of time in Costa Rica. My mom's Costa Rican and that is my Latina background is all who I am. I always think it's just because Latino culture can't be denied, man. I mean, like when you have Latino culture and that other half is just like, okay, you got her. You can have her.
Right.
But I think to come with those ideas is like dig into your identity, dig into like what do you believe in, dig into like what enrages you or what makes you angry. Like that's where you find the stories, is the things that you have a really strong opinion about, or even like a strong fascination about. Like I obviously must be fascinated with death because I'm so drawn to crime. Like I think it's funny because my phone like knows what I like. Or do you guys have like, Eric, I always wonder, is all your stuff come up and it's like funny stuff? Because all mine is like so-and-so died, then they died this way, and then this child died. It's like the phone's algorithms like, okay, she's totally into crime. And
I'll get a bunch of ads for like kid stuff or stuff that I've looked up that I always find creepy. I'm like, ugh.
I just get a lot of DIYs and soap cutting.
Oh,
yeah.
See, is it connecting? Does it connect with you?
Actually, it does. I don't know if you, like, just real quick, I don't know if you've seen that Social Dilemma that's on Netflix, and it just tells you like your algorithm. Everyone is just on their own algorithm. Have you watched it?
No. I don't think so.
Okay, so there's this thing called social algorithm, right? And they're like, oh, they figured you out. You know, they know exactly what you're into, what you spend hours watching on your phone. Like they figured you out. And I'm like, they're like, they have not figured me out at all. Right. And then I look at my Explorer page and next thing you know, I'm watching soap being cut up for like 2 hours and a whole bunch of DIYs. And I'm like, fuck, they got me.
I know, right?
So yeah. So for you, like with all the crime stuff, it's probably like, she probably...
I
Well,
know.
I think it's harder for comics though, because like sometimes like I'll look stuff up for jokes to the point where like my wife will grab my phone and she'll like, "What were you searching?" I'm like, it was for a joke. It was for a joke." She's like, "I don't even want to know. I'm just, you know what? Let me just look at my phone." I'm like, "All right, cool."
Yeah. I know my husband's always like, like doing research for like some like really scary script or something. He's always like, dude, they're gonna arrest you. Like if they don't dig into your phone and see what you're researching about like how to get rid of bodies, like you're so much trouble. I think you could just point to my body of work. It's all pretty dark. And so it's like research. But yeah, I would say, Sasha, it's like I mean all my stuff's like it's also, I'm fascinated with the Latino life and, the Latino struggle. And, Chicago Med was kind of an outlier because it's my first, it's an episode of television. And obviously, as a director, you're not writing the content. But it's still got that, it's high conflict. It's dark. It's people suffering. There's lots of blood. And I think in terms of vision, like really laying that out, if you're not writing it, which a lot of directors don't write, like you can still put your vision on the page. And that's through like, how do you portray that world? Like how through the images that you're putting on the screen, how does that tangibly convey the feeling you want your audience to feel when they're looking at it? Because look, I could look at you here, Sasha, but even if I just turn the camera at an angle and get up close to you, I'm more with you and I'm close. You know what I'm saying? And then it becomes like your story, as opposed to right now where you call this like a third, like an outside perspective. This is a neutral perspective. We're all being looked at. So not one of us, it's not one of our stories. It's like we're all, so you could think about the camera that way. It's it's an amazing, powerful, powerful instrument that we get to use.
And how do you dictate that? Because working with people is not easy. Sometimes it's like you might be working with someone on your team that, you can tell them like, hey, hold this way, or maybe come in this way. And to you, it's just like so simple, but to them, it's just like rocket science. And how do you
like get on the same page?
Yeah, how do you guys get on the same page? Like, how do you communicate that?
Well, I definitely think
without getting upset.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, when you're working on your own project, everything is in pre-production. So pre-production is everything you do before that camera's rolling. And that is the key. Like, you got to share movies. You have to share images, artwork, like find stuff, in museums, artwork that conveys that feeling, colors, textures, frames. Like, is it a close frame? Do you see everything close? Do you see everything wide? Do you see everything, weird angular? Do you see it symmetrical? Like everything that you can share with that person, because even if, Sasha, if you're working with someone that you're like, this is not going to happen, we are so on the wrong, you can use that time in pre-production and get on the same page. And you never know, that guy, that woman or man, she might bring something else that you hadn't thought of. That's what's so beautiful about collaboration, is I do think it makes everything better. Two heads is always better than one, right?
Yeah. I think also like, being an influencer and then talking to other people that are influencers, I think they always think it's a one-man army, right? And they don't realize how it is to need to work with someone else and how that actually takes you farther. So what is a lesson that you feel like you've learned in your career that you could share with people that are very married to all of their ideas?
Yeah, I definitely, I guess I look at it this way. I mean, you have people that kind of go against that. It's like the Robert Rodriguez, where it's this idea of like, he can do everything. But think about it. Like, when you collaborate with people, I see the world a certain way. It's like where everything I've seen or everywhere I've visited or the programs I like or the style. So that's the way I see the world. But if I'm going to work with you, you, Eric, say you see the world in a totally different way. You were raised in a different way, different places. So we're going to have like more vision and more universality that can be applied to the vision we come up with together. Because if it's just mine, like, I don't know how you, Eric, would see where I come from. Like, It's also, so that's what I was just going to say. It's like, test your work, because man, if someone's like, dude, you could do this better, like, that's not the first person that's going to say that. You're going to go live with your idea and someone else is going to have maybe a criticism. So it's like, take as much criticism as you can and test your work as much as you can. And I also think, like, how fun is it to like accomplish something and then look around and you're all by yourself? Like, it's so much more fun to party after when you have an accomplishment that more than one person worked on. Like,
right.
You know what I mean? And it's also like, you're making jobs.
Yeah, that's the best part.
Here's a question for you then. Who is somebody you would love to collaborate with that you haven't yet?
Yeah.
Oh my God, there's so many. There are so many. I mean, like, it's funny because when they're directors, you're like, so how would I collaborate with them? You know, like the P.T. Anderson, who I'm like obsessed with. I love his work. And it's just like, I would just love to like shadow him, even like to be there on set and see him work. Like, there, you know, even there's just so many accomplished TV directors. It's like, just to see how they are on set with the same amount of resources that I've got, like, but they make these really amazing, you know, episodes. And it's like, I'm obsessed with that TV show, The Alienist. Did you guys watch it? Again, it's super dark. Just warning you.
Alienist?
It's on TNT. And so they had their second, it's kind of cool when they came out with their second season this year, they just like unloaded all of them. So it was like one night, man, I was sitting there with my headphones in my office, just watching like episode after episode after episode, and I could not take my eyes away. But it's like so dark that by the end, I was just like hearing stuff, and you know,
that's how you know how good it is, right? When it like draws you in that much.
But this one is like total female empowerment this season. You got to check it out, Sasha. Like, it is so cool. It's dark though.
I gotta watch. Well, the thing is that I try to steer away from dark things because I'm already so creative that I'm like, I'm gonna get too engulfed, like you said.
I feel like SJ. I feel like you and my wife would totally get along. Like, I used to have this joke in my act, how I knew I was gonna marry her, because she used to watch like How to Get Away with Murder and Dexter, and like she would like. There was one time we were legit on the couch, and she turned and she goes, "I think I can get rid of a body." I was like, you know what? I'm gonna marry this one. I'm not. No.
Hey, but you know, I broke it down because like I analyze that too. I'm like, dude, what if like, you know, Sasha, also like as an artist, you're always like, what if is something wrong with me? Like, why am I fascinated with all this? Like, do I want to hurt someone? Like, you know, I always go like, and then I'm like, no, I'm fascinated with putting those suckers away. Like, there's something like that I'm fascinated that's like superhero stuff. Like, I love it. Like the investigators, they are like figure out these riddles, and then we're like, no, you did not get away with it, buddy. Sorry. Maybe 16 years later, but you're going down. You know, it's like that's the stuff I love about it.
Yes, I think that is what's so important about the visuals and the colors, and like having people feel like they're part of that journey. Because then they're like, because when they make the superhero bring the sucker down, you're like, I did that.
I know.
I was there. I was cheering him on, you know.
Yeah, you're like wind blowing in your hair, and you're like, we got my cape on.
It really
felt like
that.
Yeah, with Wonder Woman, I was like, I wanted to do like kicks and stuff after that. I'm like, I gotta get my like game on again.
Yeah. That's when you know something really influenced it, because I've done that like back in the day. They used to have HBO would do like the boxing stuff, the 24/7, like behind the scenes. I'd watch one of like, I'm gonna go for a run, I'm gonna jump some rope, I'm gonna hit a bag, and people are like, what is wrong with you? I'm hyped right now.
I know. I think I did try doing a kick, and my daughter's like, Mama, you're gonna hurt yourself. And I was like, oh God.
I remember when I was like 9-10 years old, and my brothers loved doing karate, and it's like, man, you're not. You think you're gonna be Bruce Lee, but you're not.
Dude, Top Gun still does that for me, guys. Like, seriously, when I'm like in my running thing, I still do soundtrack of Top Gun. I know I've aged myself. You guys are probably too young for that, but the soundtrack for those movies that your like generation identifies with, it just like pumps you up. You know, you're just like, I'm gonna run.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now what would be, because I know you like the dark projects, what would be a dream project for you to do? Or is it something you're working on you can't even talk about?
I mean, I've got a few in the mix. Like, I'm also like totally fascinated with historical genre. And so I've got a project I'm working on there. And yeah, I mean, something that's like, I love epic stuff. And I don't even know if that's being from like Cambria and Costa Rica, where everything is just expansive. My friend Brad always jokes, he's like, yeah, you really like expansive, which to him is like expensive, but with an accent. Because, you know, I just always like, I love these projects that have scope, you know, big world. Like, you know, I'd love to direct big studio movies. I want to get to the place where I can do, you know, big films and even just TV. And man, there's so many amazing projects now where the resources on these TV projects are just unreal. Like, you know, to be able to go in there and just be able to like really, I love to make audiences go and feel like you're in another place, you know?
Right.
When do you feel like when you're working with people, like when do you feel like it's collaboration or like too many cooks in the kitchen?
Well, there has to be someone making decisions, Sasha.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, like until that person makes a decision, like I think people want someone to make a decision too. I mean, even with TV, it's like your team is big, but people at the end of the day need someone to be the showrunner, whoever it is, needs to make a decision. Okay. So I don't think you can have too many collaborators. Everyone needs to know where the final word is.
Okay. So it's all about just direction.
Yeah, the final word has to be said. But that's why I think if you come with a really strong vision of whatever your project is, people will jump on board. It becomes their vision. And then everybody is headed to the same direction. Like if they all know where the town is that they're walking to across the desert, like they'll all keep walking. We just need to know where the town is.
Okay.
What the goal is.
That makes sense.
Now, I know you've got the kiddos. What is something you would advise them if they tell you they want to follow in your footsteps and be a director or get into showbiz?
Is that horrible? I feel like I kind of want one of them to, and that's just because I mean, you both know it has taken so long to get here. It has taken, like, I don't know what I was thinking when I was 17. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be like, you know, directed huge movies at 21. And then you get to 21, you're like, okay, I'm going to be directing like, you know, all this stuff like TV and films at 25. And then you just keep pushing that number up and up. And then, and then you get there and you're like, I think it'd be so awesome now that I have so much more information to like help be my child or it could just others, you know, I'm trying to help and mentor others. It's like, once you know so much more, it's so much easier to get there. Like,
right.
That's absolutely a thought that I've also been having because I'm figuring so many things out now. And I'm like, just like, man, if I could have talked to like 20-year-old Sasha, we would have been here, you know? And it's just like, when I talk to my niece, every time I call her, I'm like, because she's 18 now. But I speak to her and I'm like, so what do you want to do with your life? She's like, I don't know. I'm like, that's a dangerous place to be. But it's like, it's really not. It's just like, I guess, you know, I'm just
and she says it with the accent of an 80-year-old. I love that.
Yeah.
You know what Sasha it is?
Sasha pushes up fake glasses. Back in my day. What?
Well, you know what it is, too? It's like, I feel that, you know, my oldest sibling is 13 years old, right? And I don't feel like we're that different. You know, like I feel like, yes, there are certain things that are different, but like we fairly know the same things. Like I know when of hip hop, he knows hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Like he kind of grew up on that stuff. But like now with social media, because my niece was like online a lot more than I was, I feel like we're in two different worlds. Like she's just like, you know, she knows more about me, more than me about certain things. And I'm just like, well, I'm old now. I even saw this thing where it's just like, you know, you're old because you say when you're making a call, you're going like this. But like if you ask anyone that's like from 2005 that was born 2005 and up, they pick up the phone like this.
I still do that on stage. I got on the phone.
Yeah, that's how you know you're old because you be like, yeah, I gotta make a call.
Not only do I do this, but when I'm done with the call on stage, I still do the hang up. Like there's a hook.
They go like this, fake.
Dude, I was explaining like there's like a telephone hook here because I'm in like grandpa's old place and they have like an outlet. Remember when he hung the phone? And so I like had to act it all out for my daughter this morning. She's like, I just don't understand. But if you hang up the phone, how do you pick it up? And it's like, oh yeah, okay. There was a base. So there was like a base to the phone and like, you know, the whole thing just doesn't make any sense. It's like,
and it'll make you feel so old sometimes, where you're just like, oh my god, like so. I'm on the East Coast right now, and we're at my mother-in-law's friend's house. Like we're here for a couple months, and they have regular TV. We don't have regular TV in my house. We have streaming. We have Netflix,
Oh yeah,
Amazon,
yeah, yeah.
Hulu.
Real
My
TV.
my 4-year-old flipped out because he's watching his show, and then all of a sudden commercial comes on. He's like, what's this? And I was like, oh, buddy, that's a commercial. He's like, I don't like this, Daddy. Change it. I was like,
I have no control.
No. I was like, nah, man, you have to watch this. And now he's kind of obsessed with commercials. Oh, I want that. I want that. I'm like, oh no. We can't have everything.
Man. They are dangerous. Commercials are dangerous.
But it blew my mind. I was like, oh, he doesn't know what commercials are. Like, I didn't realize, this is a new generation. A lot of people don't know what commercials are. This is crazy. You can just skip them.
Dude, you say that because we've been through that now too, jumping around, right? Jumping different houses and stuff. And my daughter then got used to the commercials. And then we went on vacation, and she turned around, I remember, through a movie, and she goes, Mommy, did you notice there's no commercials? And it was like, so she's actually noticing how awesome it is without the commercials. Like, it's funny in their little brains how they take so much in. Like, they're just, I love it, man. I can't imagine life without kids. Oh, man. I can't.
I've been thinking about the idea of kids because I'm 30, right? And usually, like in my parents' time, they already had 3 of them at 30, right? And I'm just like, the older I'm getting, I'm like, am I gonna have kids, or should I have been, a young mom? Because I'm like, do I want to like raise someone now as I'm trying to figure out my career? It's like I'm trying to figure that out.
You can do it all, and I feel like you can totally do it all. My first was at 40, right before 40.
Then you know what? You inspire me. Boom, there you go.
I'll tell you what, Sasha. Me and SJ will drop off our youngest, and you can have them for a couple weeks and see what happens.
Okay.
See what happens.
Wait, maybe I'm doing my math. Wait, I think my second was right before 40. Because I'm like, really? Am I that old? My second was right before 40. But I remember, like, you have this whole paranoia that, like, oh, you're not gonna get pregnant after 40. And my husband and I, we like slid in. I think it was like 3 weeks before I turned 40. It was like pregnant. It was like,
yeah.
But you can get pregnant after 40 too. I mean, that's like, isn't it funny now that like 40 is the new norm to be a mom? Like, that's crazy.
True. That's true.
So let me ask you. So I'm sorry, guys.
No, I was just going to talk about Sex in the City. How they started their lives in their 30s, and I'm like, that makes sense. That's why we're all feeling like we can do it all. All right.
I want to ask you, because you're bringing up, you're a mom, you're Latina, you're female. Like, how has that? How have you seen that tide shift in the industry? Because I know for the longest time it was very hard finding female directors, and then there was this whole wave of like, oh no, we have to start pushing this narrative. We need more female directors, and I saw a lot of the networks start making those programs for female directors, and then on top of it. Now we're seeing this whole wave of like, oh, we need more Latinos, whether it's behind the camera or in front of the camera, because we need our stories told. How have you seen that change when you started directing to where you are now?
Well, it's funny. Did you see the Hollywood Diversity Report 2020?
I get so frustrated with those because every year they come out and every year they all seem shocked. Oh my God, it's only 2% Latino. What? 1%? How we didn't know? I'm like, well, use your eyes. You don't need a fancy university to give you these numbers. Just watch TV.
Right.
Sure. I know, it's funny, or like I'll feel really like upbeat and be like, okay, it's happening, because like I'm in the DGA Latino committee, and so it's like every week we're together and you feel like you've got your crew. I mean, that, I'll be honest, the crew's small. I mean, it's like every once in a while you're like, I know everybody and their first and last names already. It's been 2 weeks. This is a really bad sign. I mean, like, we need more representation, but still you feel like, okay, we're getting there. And then a shout out to the Latinx, LatinxDirectors.com. Is it Latinx Directors? And it's amazing. So this Alberto Belay and a couple other people put together this amazing website where you can literally go on, guys, and put in like, are you looking for a woman? Are you looking for a man? Is you want her to have done features or how many episodes of TV or does she have to have done medical? So you go to this website. There it is. You guys are good. You guys need to check this out if you were looking for Latino directors. It's amazing. And you know what's actually been so cool about this project is it's like brought us together. Like, I think that's the coolest thing is it's like bringing the community together.
Right.
And
yeah,
I think that's important.
I know me and Sasha have talked about it, but I have felt like in more recent years, the community is coming together because I think the industry has sort of found a way to divide us, and we've all felt alone. We've all felt like this is our own battle, and it's like, no, if we can come together and create this ecosystem, we become a lot stronger in numbers, and then we can start moving forward and seeing the progress.
Yeah,
so it's amazing that it's amazing that website is there and available. Like, I wouldn't have even known, that something like that existed.
And the hashtag's no more excuses, which is so perfect because it is like when you see that kind of representation and flip through those pages and you're like, oh shit. It's like there is no excuse now for people to be able to say, oh, I can't find Latino. I can't find a woman of color or Latina. So there's no excuses. But then it's like the Hollywood diversity report will pop up. That's also between crime and like Latino life. That's what pops up on my phone. But it's like, I'll get that report and I'll be like, oh no, it sucks. Like the numbers are like, I mean, I knew they were scary, but it's like, that's scary. Like they're like super sad, you know? And it's like, and then also, I mean, I try to like speak up for American Latinos because I feel like too, that what scares me is everyone's like, oh yeah, but the Latinos, they keep winning the Oscar or Emmys. It's like, no, dude, they were raised in Mexico. And again, nothing about being Latin American, but like, that's totally a different situation than being American Latino. And I think American Latinos actually have it harder because the culture in our country is not, it makes sense. Like our families immigrate here and they're like, they want us to just like be part of the culture. They're like, don't be too fluent in Spanish. Like make sure your English grammar is great. And it's like, then it's like, but I want to be in the movies. It's like, no, you're gonna be a doctor. You're gonna be an attorney. And so I actually feel like moving and encouraging American Latinos to go into the arts is like a huge important thing that we need to be doing because
that's how it was in my family. My father, he's Puerto Rican. He was just like, we're fitting in. We're Americans. We don't speak Spanish. And my mother's Guatemalan. My mom was Guatemalan. She's like, oh no, you're gonna learn Spanish. You're gonna take, whatever I cook for you to school, and I got made fun of. Like, your food smells weird. And I was like, no, it's delicious.
Yeah, right.
But it's funny. It's funny you say that about the American Latino experience because, like, I recently pitched a show where it was like someone like of me who's born in this country and very American, and I was like, oh, it's a fish out of water because we always see the fish out of water of like the Latino coming here and they're so dumb, they don't speak English. I'm like, yeah, they're learning a second language, which is more than anyone in this country. I'm like, so I pitched a show of a fish out of water, American Latino having to go to Latin America and trying to, because the people here in America seem like, oh, you're Latino, you're going to head that division of our company. And it's like that fish out of, but like to see the network execs like, wait, so the show is in Spanish? Like, where's the comedy coming from? It's like not understanding it at all. It's like, oh, no, you think I'm brown, but over there, I'm not. Over there, I'm you guys.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's what's also, I think people don't understand about like our struggle as American Latinos. It's like, okay, we're not white enough, but like sometimes we're also not brown enough. So it's like also depends. Like I can't tell you how many times too I've like gone up to like full on like Mexican, like Chicano heavy culture guys and like go up and they'll speak Spanish to them. And then they look at me because they don't speak Spanish. But like to anyone else, they'd be like full on like Chicano, they have to speak Spanish. So it's like so interesting the levels of like where everyone's at and like everyone's afraid of like being what they are, but we're all just the American Latino. Like we're all in this group, which is just totally different experiences. Like I'm with you too. My mom like encouraged it. I mean, she went through phases, but like always making sure I was in Costa Rica. I had my daughter in Costa Rica. Like that's a culture that we have to keep, and it's like, but it's interesting to me. I do think as much as we have a lot to be excited about in the industry, God, we have so far to go. Like, you know, as much as I got into the Academy this year and it was like such an exciting, like I was so excited and I got so depressed when I saw the headlines and it was like the only American Latino to get into the Academy. You know what I mean? Like if you look at the numbers of the Academy, guys, like it is sad. Like it's
right.
Yeah. And you know what's
it's like not diverse. It is not diverse. We have still far to go. Like they're doing amazing work over there, but there's a lot to be done and we can all put effort in. Like
that's true. But you know what's interesting too? Because my parents did this to me when they were like, you know how competitive it is out there? You know, you're really gonna try to be an entertainer, you know how competitive it is, and then you get in there and you're like, my parents told me there was way more people here. I did not know. You know, that's like they really thought that there were more people like you or whatever in the industry. But it's like there's no competition because we're told not to go for these things. You know?
I know. Yeah, I think it's just about making really good work. Just like for people too that want to make film. I'm a judge right now for Holly Shorts, and man, the films are so good.
Wow.
Like they are so good. And it just excites me. There is so much good talent out there. Like
Does it get frustrating? And I'm only asking because I've gone through this myself. Does it get so frustrating that you have to create almost a masterpiece? Like when I go pitch a show, I have to know season 7, episode 3, what's happening to this supporting cast member. And then you read those stories of people go in and they just, sold. We don't even care what it is. And you're just like,
right. That's so true.
This is why. Like,
it's because you're Latino, Eric. No, just kidding.
No, but I'm saying, like that's the most frustrating thing. Is like you watch some movies that are great movies, then you also watch bad movies, and they're like, why don't they at least give us the money to make bad movies?
That's what I say all the time.
Not that we want to make bad movies, but I'm like, we could make that.
Yeah, I know you're right though. It's like, so I see some of these shorts and I'm like, why are so many? Where are these filmmakers? And it actually makes me sad because I'm like, why are these people not getting opportunity? Because these are amazing films. And like, then I go into Netflix, you know, we've all watched like every movie now that's available. Like you're down to like the bottom of the bucket. It's like, okay, it went straight to video. It's like a thriller. I don't know. Maybe we'll be able to sit through it. And you're like, wait, why are those people I'm seeing at Holly Shorts not making these movies? Like there's definitely a pipeline problem, right? There's a pipeline problem. And also it's like, you know, you got to pick like what's your 3 favorite. And it's like, there are so many good filmmakers here. That also makes me sad. It's like, part of me wants to spread the love around. It's like, oh, that guy, he already won like 12 awards at every film festival. Maybe I should give it to this guy. Cause like he had, like, I also want to spread the encouragement. And I think we all need encouragement to move forward in our careers. Validation is huge. Like I remember Robert Rodriguez told me that once. I interviewed him when I was doing these like remember when we had Latino voices at Huffington Post?
Yeah.
Remember when Huffington Post was like a thing? Was still like, I mean, it's still like a thing, but it used to be like hot. Remember? It was like the hottest thing. And like I was writing, I found like a different Latino filmmaker, and then we would, you know, do a photo of them. And I remember he said like he felt like he launched when he was young because he got validation so early on. Because remember he won Sundance and stuff.
Yeah, I remember it wasn't Desperado, it was the El Mariachi, and then and it was like a phenom thing because I think it was like $10,000 or $20,000, and he edited it himself, he cut it up himself, and it was like this maniac. Everybody was like, "This guy's crazy," but it was such a good film. And then they gave him a little more budget. Then he made Desperado, and then all of a sudden he's doing Spy Kids, and you're like, "Oh my god!"
I know. But he did say validation, and that always stuck with me because it's like you need that. Like, meaning don't feel guilty. Because I went through a period where I'm like, I'm not getting validation. Should I be giving up? And then it's like, if you just wait it out, get the littlest bit, it doesn't matter where, you know what I mean? But that validation will keep you going. It's like someone saying, I want to watch your movie. I mean, it's hard to make movies if nobody shows up.
That's true.
Yeah.
You're right about that.
Or your show, Eric, right? It's like if your whole theater is empty, you're going to be like,
what's the point?
What am I doing? You know what I mean? But it's like
it's something wrong. Oops. Well, no, that's awesome. I'm excited to see what the future holds for you. I'm excited to see what's going on inside that dark head of yours, SJ.
I know. I'm hoping this season. I'm waiting on some dates, and I'm like, oh my god, I hope. I'm so excited. I'm definitely going back to med, but I'm also excited to see what else the season is, and I'll keep you updated. It's fun. That's what's fun about TV too. It's like it's almost like a bit like Life of Actors, like you guys, you're waiting to like get picked, right? It's almost like that as a director, because you're like waiting to kind of get picked by a show. So,
well, why don't you, before we let you go, tell everybody where they can find you. That way, maybe somebody out there is writing a letter to Miss SJ Main Munoz and like, I want to work for you when you open a studio.
Yeah, okay. I just have to say though, nothing creepy. Okay,
nothing creepy.
I don't want any creepy stuff. I don't want any stalker stuff. Okay, so like. But I'm at sjmainmunoz.com or sjmainmunoz.com, and I'm at SJ Main Munoz on Facebook and on Instagram, on all of it. So Twitter, it's all SJ Main Munoz.
All right, yeah, look her up. I'm so excited we finally got to have you on the
I
live
know,
stream.
you guys are awesome. I should say it's SJ Main Munoz, since nobody can.
No, Munoz.
Literally, and the Enye, like if you type it in certain places, like it turns into like
some weird little
thing.
That's so weird. That's so funny.
And everyone's always like, "How do you say your name?" So I just like, oh man, Munoz. It shouldn't be hard, but it is. I love you guys. Thanks for being funny.
Well, thank you so much for coming on, and we wish you the best. Sasha, tell everybody where they can find you.
You can find me on Instagram, on Twitter, on Triller, on all of these social media apps. And you can also watch my and D Nasty's TV show every Monday at 11 p.m. today, which is today, 11 p.m.
Today, 11 p.m.
On Fuse TV.
Yeah, and then you can find me at Erik Rivera Comedy on all social media, and then might as well go watch my half-hour special, HBO Max. You're stuck at home. You got nothing else to do.
Just do it.
Free and then cancel. Sign up for free and then cancel real quick. Super White streaming now on HBO Max. Thank you guys so much, and we'll see you again next week.
Bye. Wear your mask.